Lisa Miller stood at the viewport of the Galactic Confederation station, watching the slow dance of starships against the backdrop of stars. Her official title was Earth's ambassador to the Confederation, but today she was supposedly on leave. The message from her technical advisor, Jack Thompson, had been urgent enough to cancel her plans. "Something's happening," Jack had written in his encrypted message. "Unusual diplomatic traffic. High-ranking officials arriving without announcement. And we're not invited." Lisa checked her personal data pad again. The station's public schedule showed nothing unusual, but Jack's sensor data told a different story. 12 diplomatic vessels had arrived in the past 24 hours. Representatives from every major species in the Confederation were now aboard the station. She tapped her communicator, disguised as a simple silver bracelet. "Jack, are you certain about this?" His voice came through clearly but quietly. "Absolutely. I've been monitoring the secure docking bays. The Arcturus representative arrived 3 hours ago. That makes all 12 Council species present and accounted for." Lisa frowned. A full Council gathering without Earth's knowledge violated at least 2 provisions of the membership agreement they had signed 5 years ago. Something was very wrong. "Where are they meeting?" she asked. "Chamber B12, the secure conference room. They've activated all privacy measures." Lisa made her decision. "Find Gregory. We need his help." 30 minutes later, she sat in her private quarters with Gregory Hayes, a human maintenance engineer, who'd been working on the station for 3 years. His security clearance gave him access to almost every part of the station. "This is highly illegal," Gregory said, examining the tiny surveillance devices Lisa had placed on the table. "If they catch us, best-case scenario is we get sent back to Earth and banned from Confederation space. Worst-case scenario—" "I know the risks," Lisa replied. "But something is happening that involves Earth, and they're deliberately keeping us in the dark. We need to know what they're planning." Gregory sighed but nodded. "I can place these near the ventilation system in B12. The sound waves should carry enough for these to pick up. But I'll need a distraction to get past the security checkpoint." While Lisa created a diplomatic incident in the main concourse by loudly arguing with a Felixian merchant, Gregory slipped through the security corridors and placed the surveillance devices. The tiny machines, no larger than a grain of rice, adhered to the metal surface and immediately began transmitting. Back in Lisa's quarters, they listened as the council meeting began. "The human problem can no longer be ignored," said a gravelly voice Lisa recognized as Ambassador Kralzik of the Arcturus Dominion. "Their development rate exceeds all projected models. At this pace, they will surpass half the species in this room technologically within 20 years. A softer, melodic voice responded, the Mendari representative. "We have welcomed many young species into the Confederation over the millennia. The humans are unusual, but not necessarily dangerous. You speak of danger?" A harsh, clicking sound punctuated each word as the Draconian spoke. "Their history is written in blood. Their first fusion drives were developed for weapons, not exploration. Their adaptability makes them unpredictable." Lisa and Gregory exchanged worried glances. "What exactly are you proposing?" asked the Mendari. "Containment," replied Kralzik. "For their own good and the stability of the Confederation, we have several options to discuss, ranging from economic sanctions to more permanent solutions." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. She activated her secure quantum communicator, linking directly to Earth's defense headquarters. "This is Ambassador Miller. Security code Alpha 9 Delta 7. I need to speak with President Weber immediately. We have a situation." As the council continued their discussion about humanity's fate, Lisa prepared to transmit everything they said back to Earth. The aliens thought humans were unpredictable now. They hadn't seen anything yet. Back on Earth, Commander Susan Taylor of the Earth Intelligence Division paced her office. The large windows showed the skyline of New Washington, but her mind was far away, focused on the Confederation station thousands of light years from home. The quantum communicator on her desk beeped. Susan pressed the accept button and Ambassador Lisa Miller's face appeared on the screen. "Commander Taylor, we have a problem," Lisa said. Her voice was steady, but Susan could see the tension in her eyes. "What's happening up there, Ambassador?" The Council is holding a secret meeting about Earth. They're discussing what they call containment protocols for humanity. I've set up surveillance, sending you the live feed now. Susan's screen split to show the audio visualization of the Council meeting. She listened carefully as alien voices discussed humanity's rapid development with growing alarm. "Get me, Kevin. Rogers?" Susan ordered her assistant through the intercom, "and inform President Weber we may have a situation." Kevin Rogers arrived minutes later, his tall frame bending slightly as he entered the office. As the division's top analyst, he had been studying alien psychology and politics for the past decade. "What do you make of this?" Susan asked, replaying the Council's discussion. Kevin listened, his expression growing darker. "This is worse than we thought. The Draconians are pushing for economic isolation, cutting us off from advanced technology. The Felixians want to introduce sabotage elements into our computer networks." "And the Mendari?" Susan asked. Kevin hesitated. "They're suggesting genetic modification, subtle changes to our population to reduce what they call our innovation drive and aggressive tendencies. They're talking about changing who we are as a species, without our knowledge or consent." Susan slammed her hand on the desk. "That's an act of war." "According to their ethics, it's an act of galactic stability," Kevin replied. "They don't see it as we do. To them, they're the responsible elders managing a dangerous child." The quantum communicator beeped again. Lisa's face reappeared. "I've placed more surveillance devices through Gregory. We now have coverage of the Council chamber and 3 private meeting rooms. The main discussion has broken into smaller groups now." "What's your status?" Susan asked. "Secure for the moment, but Gregory thinks station security might be increasing random scans. We may not have much time." Susan nodded. "Keep transmitting. I'm briefing the president in 15 minutes. What's your assessment of our options?" Lisa looked around carefully before answering. "Diplomatic protest would be the normal response, but it would alert them that we know. Military options would be disastrous. We're outnumbered and outgunned. But we do have one advantage." "What's that?" "They're underestimating us. I've reviewed the development projections they're working from. They have no idea about Project Prometheus or the Jupiter shipyards. Project Prometheus was Earth's secret research initiative, hidden from the Confederation. The Jupiter shipyards had been constructing vessels with technology humans officially shouldn't have for 3 years now. "Hold your position and continue gathering intelligence," Susan ordered. "I'll coordinate with the president on next steps." As the call ended, Kevin looked at Susan with concern. "This could go very badly." "Or very well," Susan replied. "Humanity has always been at its best when backed into a corner." Susan left her office and headed toward the secure elevator that would take her to the presidential level. In her pocket was a data drive containing everything Lisa had transmitted. The aliens thought humans were predictable. They thought they understood Earth's capabilities and responses. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In the Confederation station, Lisa closed the communication channel and looked out at the stars again. The surveillance devices continued to collect data on the Council's plans. Outside her window, alien ships moved in elegant patterns, following the precise, predictable paths they had used for thousands of years. Lisa smiled slightly. Predictability had never been humanity's strong point. President Allison Weber sat at the head of the long table in the underground situation room. The room was designed for crisis management, with screens covering the walls showing data from across Earth and space. Today, all screens focused on one thing: the Confederation Council's secret meeting. "Play the recording again," she ordered. The room filled with alien voices discussing humanity's fate. "They need time to develop proper social restraints," said the Mendari representative. "Their technology is advancing faster than their wisdom. Our proposal for genetic modification is merciful compared to the alternatives." "Genetic manipulation would take generations," clicked the draconian voice. "The threat is immediate. We should disable their faster-than-light capabilities now, while we still can." President Weber's face remained calm, but her knuckles turned white as she gripped her pen. "How certain are we about this intelligence?" she asked when the recording ended. Susan Taylor stepped forward. Ambassador Miller's surveillance is active and verified, Madam President. We're hearing their actual discussions, not interpretations. And they have no idea we're listening? Not yet. But Gregory Hayes, who placed the devices, reports increased security scans. It's only a matter of time. The President turned to her military advisor. General, what are our options if this turns hostile? General Frank Carter, a tall man with short gray hair, touched his tablet. A new image appeared on the main screen showing Earth's defensive capabilities. Officially, we have 6 deep space vessels with limited weapons, all known to the Confederation. Unofficially, Project Prometheus has produced 14 advanced ships with enhanced shielding and quantum weapons. They're currently hidden in the Jupiter shipyards. How do they compare to Confederation technology? General Carter's expression was grim. Even with our secret advances, we're outnumbered 20-1. In a direct conflict, Earth would not survive. The room fell silent. President Weber stood and walked to the window, looking out at the peaceful city below. Citizens walked the streets unaware that aliens were discussing limiting their future. We didn't join the Confederation to be pets or to be controlled, she said quietly. Humanity has a right to develop at our own pace, make our own mistakes, and find our own path forward. She turned back to the room. I will not allow alien species to decide humanity's fate without our input or consent. What do you propose, Madam President? Asked Susan. A 3-part strategy. First, we continue to gather intelligence. Ambassador Miller stays in place as long as possible. She pointed to General Carter. Second, accelerate Project Prometheus. I want all ships ready for deployment within 30 days. And third? Susan asked. President Weber smiled slightly. We find leverage, something the Confederation needs that only we can provide. Kevin, what makes humans unique in the galactic community? Kevin Rogers thought for a moment. Our adaptability and creativity. Most species took thousands of years to develop technologies we mastered in decades. They follow predictable development patterns. We don't. Exactly, the President said. We turn our unpredictability into an asset. Find something they need that their predictable thinking hasn't solved. She turned to her Secretary of Science. Dr. West, review all our recent technological breakthroughs. Find something revolutionary that we haven't shared with the Confederation yet. Dr. Olivia West nodded. The quantum folding technology might work. It's decades ahead of anything in the Confederation database. Good. Prepare a complete file on it, but keep it secure. The President looked around the room. Ladies and gentlemen, we are playing a dangerous game. The Confederation thinks they're deciding our fate. What they don't realize is that we're about to change the rules. Back on the Confederation station, Lisa Miller continued her normal routine, attending diplomatic functions and smiling at the very aliens who had been discussing humanity's containment. Each time she passed Ambassador Kralzik or the Mendari representative, she nodded politely, hiding her knowledge of their betrayal. Meanwhile, Gregory moved through the station's maintenance tunnels, placing more surveillance devices near the private quarters of key council members. Earth needed every advantage it could get. 3 weeks passed on Earth. In a hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Paul Martinez walked through vast underground chambers where engineers worked on massive ships. These vessels were part of Operation Sleeping Giant, Earth's secret defense initiative. Status report, Admiral Martinez said to the chief engineer. Ships 1 through 8 are fully operational, replied the engineer, a woman with short red hair. 9 through 14 will be ready in 6 days. The new quantum weapons are installed on all vessels. Admiral Martinez nodded with satisfaction. And the stealth systems? Tested and confirmed. Confederation sensors can't detect them. In another section of the facility, Dr. Olivia West supervised a team working on a small device that glowed with blue energy. This was the quantum folding technology, perhaps humanity's most significant discovery. It could revolutionize energy production across the galaxy, if Earth chose to share it. Final tests complete, Dr. West announced. The efficiency is even higher than we projected. On the surface, Earth maintained a careful appearance of normalcy. Trade ships traveled to and from Confederation worlds. Diplomats attended meetings and social events. Nothing suggested that humanity knew about the Council's secret discussions. In orbit above Earth, 6 official military vessels conducted routine exercises, the only military power Earth had publicly revealed to the Confederation. The secret fleet remained hidden in Jupiter's shadow, invisible to passing alien ships. Meanwhile, on the Confederation station, Gregory Hayes moved carefully through the maintenance tunnels. Over the past weeks, he had placed surveillance devices in offices, meeting rooms, and private chambers. Each device transmitted valuable information back to Lisa Miller, who then sent it to Earth. Today, Gregory was installing a device near the quarters of the Felixian ambassador, who had been particularly vocal about restricting human technology. He attached the tiny device to a ventilation duct when suddenly an alarm began to sound. "Attention all station personnel," announced a computerized voice. "Security scan in progress. Unauthorized technology detected in Section 47B, security. Teams responding." Gregory froze. Section 47B was exactly where he was working. One of his earlier devices had been detected. He quickly finished installing the new device and began moving through the tunnels toward the exit. "Hayes to Miller," he whispered into his communicator. "We have a problem. They've found one of the devices." In her quarters, Lisa Miller received the message with alarm. "Get out of there now," she replied. "Return to your regular duties and act normal." Gregory increased his pace but suddenly stopped. Ahead, a security team was entering the maintenance tunnel. He turned and tried another route, but heard voices coming from that direction too. He was trapped. With no other options, Gregory hid behind a large pipe and activated his emergency beacon, a signal to Lisa that he had been compromised. In the station's security center, Chief Security Officer Valnar of the Draconian species studied the scan results. "The device is Federation technology," he reported to his superior. "Human design." "Humans?" The Arcturus security director clicked in surprise. "Are you certain?" "Quantum signature is consistent with Earth manufacturing," Valnar confirmed. "The device was designed for surveillance, and it's not the only one. Initial scans show at least 3 more in the vicinity of council chambers." The security director's eyes narrowed. "Find them all, and find who placed them there." Station security. Teams moved methodically through the maintenance tunnels. It took them only 15 minutes to find Gregory Hayes. "Human maintenance worker," reported a security officer, gripping Gregory's arm tightly. "Found hiding near the installation point of one device." Gregory kept his face calm, though his heart was racing. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. "I was just fixing a ventilation issue." The Draconian security chief clicked his mandibles in disbelief. "Take him to interrogation, and increase surveillance on all humans aboard the station, especially their ambassador." In her quarters, Lisa Miller received Gregory's emergency signal. She immediately began encrypting all the intelligence they had gathered and preparing it for emergency transmission to Earth. She had minutes at most before station security came for her too. Lisa Miller worked quickly in her quarters. Her diplomatic status wouldn't protect her for long once station security connected her to Gregory. She had to act fast. "Computer, access station central database," she commanded. Using her ambassador, credentials and an exploit Jack Thompson had discovered months ago, she bypassed the standard security protocols. "Access granted," the computer replied. "Search for all files related to Human Containment Directive." Within seconds, the screen filled with documents, meeting minutes, and private communications between council members. Lisa downloaded everything, paying special attention to the Mendari's genetic modification proposal. The details were worse than she had feared. Her communicator beeped. "Ambassador Miller, this is station security. Please remain in your quarters. We need to speak with you." They were coming for her. Lisa finished the download and inserted the data chip into her secure transmitter. She pressed her palm against the biometric reader. "Emergency Protocol Alpha. Authorization Miller 793. The transmitter hummed as it sent the data directly to Earth through quantum entanglement. Unlike normal communications, this couldn't be intercepted or blocked. With the data safely transmitted, Lisa moved to her closet and grabbed a small bag she kept ready for emergencies. It contained basic supplies, emergency credits, and a personal defense weapon that technically violated diplomatic protocols. Her door chimed. "Ambassador Miller, please open the door." Instead of answering, Lisa slipped out through her private entrance, a feature reserved for high-ranking diplomats. She moved quickly through the less-traveled corridors toward the diplomatic docking bay where her personal shuttle waited. 2 security officers appeared ahead. Lisa ducked into a side passage, but not before they spotted her. "Ambassador Miller, halt!" Lisa broke into a run. Her diplomatic shuttle was just ahead. If she could reach it, she might escape. The station's security would be reluctant to fire on a diplomatic vessel. In the station's interrogation room, Gregory Hayes sat across from Chief Security Officer Valnar. Despite the intimidating setting, Gregory maintained a calm demeanor. "We know you place surveillance devices," Valnar said. "The question is why and who you're working for." Gregory had prepared for this possibility. "I work for Biotech Industries, corporate espionage. I was gathering information on Felixian biotechnology to sell to my company." Valnar clicked his mandibles in disbelief. "You expect me to believe this was corporate spying?" The devices were focused on council chambers and diplomatic quarters. "That's where the valuable information is," Gregory replied with a shrug. "Look, I know I'm in trouble, but this was just for money. I needed credits for my sister's medical treatment." Before Valnar could respond, his communicator buzzed. "Ambassador Miller is attempting to leave the station. She's heading for the diplomatic docking bay." Valnar's eyes narrowed. "Bring her in. Use force if necessary, but do not harm her." He turned back to Gregory. "It seems your ambassador is also in a hurry to leave. Quite a coincidence." Gregory's heart sank, but he kept his expression neutral. "I don't know anything about that." Lisa reached her shuttle and quickly began the launch sequence. The shuttle's computer connected to the station's network, requesting departure clearance. "Clearance denied," the computer announced. "Security lockdown in effect." Outside the shuttle, security officers assembled, weapons ready but not raised. The station's docking control could prevent her from leaving, but Lisa had one more card to play. She activated a hidden control panel and entered a complex sequence. The shuttle's engines hummed as a different system came online, the experimental, stealth technology that Earth had developed in secret. "Override protocol engaged," announced the shuttle's computer. "Stealth systems online." Lisa took manual control and eased the shuttle away from its docking port. On the station's sensors, her vessel simply disappeared. "Where is she?" demanded Valnar, staring at the sensor display in the security center. "Unknown, sir," replied a confused officer. "The shuttle vanished from our screens. No known Confederation technology can do that." Valnar's expression darkened. "The humans have been keeping secrets. Inform the Council immediately. This changes everything." Lisa's shuttle accelerated away from the station, invisible to their tracking systems. Her course was set for Earth, carrying with her the proof of the Council's betrayal and humanity's first major victory in this silent war. 2 weeks after Lisa Miller's escape, a new human ambassador arrived at the Confederation station. Richard Nelson was tall with gray hair and a serious expression. Unlike Lisa, he had a military background before entering diplomacy. This was no accident. Earth was sending someone prepared for confrontation. The council chambers were tense as Ambassador Nelson entered. All 12 alien representatives watched him carefully. The empty chair where Gregory Hayes should have been questioned seemed to accuse them. "Ambassador Nelson," greeted Kralzik of the Arcturus Dominion, "we welcome you, though we must address the troubling actions of your predecessor and the human maintenance worker currently in our custody." Nelson nodded politely. "Indeed, there are many troubling actions we must address today. The Mendari," representative spoke in her melodic voice. "We hope to resolve this unfortunate situation peacefully. The unauthorized surveillance of council chambers and private quarters is a serious violation of Confederation law. Before we discuss that, Nelson replied calmly, I'd like to share something with the council. He placed a small device on the table and activated it. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing the council members themselves in a previous meeting. Their own voices filled the chamber. The human problem can no longer be ignored, said Kralzik's recording. Their development rate exceeds all projected models. Containment is our only option, added the draconian representative in the recording. Economic sanctions, technology restrictions, and if necessary, more permanent solutions. The council chamber fell silent as the recording continued, revealing every detail of their plans to limit human development, including the Mendari's genetic modification proposal. My government, Nelson said when the recording ended, is very concerned about these discussions, particularly the Mendari proposal for genetic modification without consent, which constitutes an act of war under our laws. The council erupted in angry responses. The draconian representative rose from his seat, mandibles clicking rapidly. This is outrageous. Your people committed espionage. You violated our sovereignty and the sacred trust of the council. Nelson remained perfectly calm. You planned to modify our species without our knowledge or consent. You plotted to limit our growth and development in secret meetings from which we were deliberately excluded. Which is the greater violation of trust? You don't understand, the Mendari representative said softly. Your species develops too rapidly. Without proper guidance, you could destabilize the entire Confederation. We were acting in everyone's best interest, including yours. We understand perfectly, Nelson replied. You fear what you don't understand. Our development doesn't follow your predictable patterns, so you assumed we must be controlled. Kralzik leaned forward. Your species went from primitive chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in less than a century. No other species has ever developed so quickly. It is unnatural and dangerous. It is who we are, Nelson said firmly, and we will not allow you to change us or limit us. The Felixian representative, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. You are one world against 12. Your military consists of 6 outdated vessels. What exactly do you think you can do? To stop us if the council decides containment is necessary? Nelson smiled slightly and activated the second part of his presentation. The hologram changed to show images that made the council members gasp. Earth's secret fleet of advanced vessels hiding in Jupiter's shadow. The ships were larger, more numerous, and clearly more advanced than anything Earth had officially revealed. While you were plotting, Nelson said calmly, we weren't idle. We suspected the Confederation might not be the benevolent alliance it claimed to be. So we prepared. The images showed 14 warships with weapon systems far beyond what Earth should have been capable of developing. This is impossible, whispered the Mendari representative. Your species couldn't have developed quantum shielding yet. As I said, Nelson replied, we don't develop according to your predictions. Now, shall we discuss the release of Gregory, Hayes, and a new agreement between Earth and the Confederation? One based on mutual respect rather than containment? The council members looked at each other in silence, suddenly realizing they had severely underestimated humanity. The emergency council session lasted for 3 days following Ambassador Nelson's revelation. Gregory Hayes was released from custody and returned to Earth, treated as a hero upon his arrival. Meanwhile, on the Confederation station, the council members struggled to understand how they had misjudged humanity so completely. In a private meeting room, the eldest of the Mendari representatives, Celaria, spoke with her advisors. We have studied thousands of species over millions of years. How did we fail to predict human capabilities? Her chief scientist, Talor, displayed charts showing the development patterns of various species. Every other intelligent species follows predictable evolution of technology and social structures. They all take similar time frames to develop specific technologies. Humans simply don't. Explain, Celaria requested. It took the Draconians 800 years to move from basic flight to space travel. The Felixians took 720 years. Even we Mendari, the fastest developers before humans, took 500 years. Taller explained. Humans did it in 66 years. Celaria's eyes widened. And from space travel to faster than light? Most species, between 4 and 7 centuries, Taller replied. Humans less than 1 century. And now they have quantum shielding technology that our models predicted would take them another 200 years to develop. Across the station, in the Arcturus delegation's quarters, Ambassador Kralzik was equally disturbed. How did they build that fleet without our knowledge? Our monitoring systems should have detected the construction. His security advisor looked troubled. The humans appear to have developed stealth technology far beyond our sensors' capabilities. Remember Ambassador Miller's shuttle? It simply disappeared from our detection systems. Impossible, muttered Kralzik. No species at their development stage should have such technology. On Earth, President Weber received a detailed report from Ambassador Nelson. The Council is in disarray, Nelson reported via quantum communication. Some factions want to impose immediate sanctions against us, but others now fear provoking us further. And the Mendari? The President asked. They seem most interested in understanding us now. Their chief xenopsychologist has requested permission to meet with human scientists. Not to study us as subjects, but to collaborate as equals. Dr. Eric Johnson, Earth's leading xenopsychology expert, sat in a comfortable office overlooking the Pacific Ocean. He was preparing for the upcoming meeting with the Mendari scientists. On his desk lay reports about each alien species and their evolutionary history. They evolved in stable environments, he explained to President Weber. The Mendari homeworld has had an unchanging climate for millions of years. The Draconians developed on a moon with predictable seasons and few natural disasters. The Arcturus species comes from a world with minimal predators. And humans? The President asked. Dr. Johnson smiled. We evolved on a planet with wildly changing climates, numerous extinction events, constant competition, and unpredictable disasters. We had to adapt or die. Our entire evolutionary history rewarded rapid adaptation and novel thinking. He pointed to brain scans comparing humans to other species. Their neural patterns show strong tendencies toward logical, linear progression. Our brains make intuitive leaps. We see connections they miss. We try approaches they would consider irrational. So they fear us because they don't understand us, the President concluded. Exactly. Their evolutionary paths rewarded conformity and gradual change. Ours rewarded adaptation and risk-taking. Back on the Confederation station, Ambassador Nelson met with a subcommittee of the Council. The atmosphere was noticeably different from previous meetings. Instead of condescension, the alien representatives now showed careful respect. We have reviewed Earth's proposal, said the Felixian representative. Your terms are unexpected. Nelson nodded. Earth doesn't seek revenge for your planned containment measures. We seek equal partnership and unrestricted access to the galactic knowledge archives previously filtered for developing species. We want representation on all council subcommittees. And if we refuse, asked the Draconian, though his tone lacked its previous confidence, then Earth will chart its own path, Nelson replied calmly. There are non-council worlds that would welcome alliance with us, but we prefer cooperation to competition. The council members exchanged glances. The balance of power had shifted, and everyone in the room knew it. Humanity would no longer be treated as a junior member of the galactic community. 6 months after the confrontation at the Confederation station, the Galactic Confederation had changed in ways no one had predicted. Earth's demands had been met. Humans now sat on every council subcommittee, had full access to the previously restricted knowledge archives, and enjoyed equal status with the founding species. The new Confederation Charter was signed in a ceremony attended by representatives from all 13 member species. Ambassador Nelson stood proudly alongside alien diplomats who now treated him as an equal rather than a junior partner. On Earth, life continued with most citizens unaware of how close they had come to having their future controlled by alien powers. The public story was simply that Earth had negotiated better terms for its Confederation membership. Only a small circle of government officials knew the full truth. In her new office overlooking Washington, D.C., Lisa Miller sat across from Jack Thompson. Her title had changed. She was now Earth's Security Advisor for Interstellar Affairs. The wall behind her desk displayed medals for exceptional service, though the details of her actions remained classified. The Mindari delegation is arriving tomorrow, Jack said, reviewing his tablet. They're still fascinated by how humans think. Their xenopsychology team has requested another round of collaborative research. Lisa smiled. Approve it, but make sure our team gets equal access to their research as well. No more one-way information flow. Jack nodded. And the Arcturus trade delegation? They've proposed a new technology exchange program. Carefully vet every proposal, Lisa replied. We share our advances, but not everything. Some technologies remain classified until we're certain of their intentions. Jack looked up from his tablet. Do you think they've accepted us now? Truly accepted us as equals? Lisa walked to the window, looking out at the city below. The spaceport in the distance showed both human and alien vessels arriving and departing. They've accepted that we're powerful, she said finally. That's not the same as accepting us as equals. The Mindari are genuinely curious about us. The Draconians still fear us. The Felixians see opportunity for profit, but none of them truly understand us yet. Will they ever? Lisa smiled. Maybe not. And that might be our greatest advantage. Across the solar system, human exploration ships prepared for journeys beyond Confederation space. These vessels carried scientists, diplomats, and security teams, humanity taking its first independent steps into the wider galaxy. Captain Amy Peterson stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Horizon, watching her crew make final preparations for departure. Captain, all systems ready, reported First Officer Sam Rodriguez. Course plotted for the Epsilon Eridani system. Any messages from Confederation tracking stations? She asked. One, Captain. The Arcturus outpost sent a warning about unaligned worlds beyond their territory. They've offered an escort vessel. Captain Peterson smiled. Politely decline. Remind them that our mission profile was clearly communicated to the Council. Yes, Captain. Should I mention our defensive capabilities? No need. Let them wonder. The Horizon departed from Jupiter Station, its advanced engines propelling it effortlessly past the edge of the solar system. This was just one of 12 human vessels now venturing beyond Confederation borders, seeking new civilizations and possibilities. On the Confederation station, the Council held its regular session. The human representative participated actively in discussions about trade routes, diplomatic protocols, and scientific research. But when the human left, the other Council members often discussed Earth privately. They've launched more exploration vessels, noted the Draconian representative. Beyond our established territories, the Mindari nodded. Seeking new allies, perhaps, or just knowledge. Their curiosity seems boundless. Should we be concerned? Asked the Felixian. The Mindari representative thought for a moment before answering. We should be attentive. Humans will never follow predictable paths. By the time we understand what they're doing, they will have changed the rules again. In her office, Lisa looked at a star map showing the paths of human exploration vessels. Red lines extended beyond Confederation space in all directions, humanity reaching out to discover what lay beyond known territories. They tried to contain us, she said softly. Instead, they ensured our expansion. The Council had held a secret meeting to limit humanity's potential. In doing so, they had only guaranteed that humans would spread their unpredictable, innovative influence across the stars.